Well, hello, everybody. It's Yoon Cannon, and we are back today. I'm so excited to be able to talk to someone who is a colleague of mine because we both do very similar things. And I'm just a huge believer that, you know what, it takes a village to raise successful entrepreneurs and to help other entrepreneurs all over the world. And so I am here today with Bradford Carlton. Bradford, welcome.
Hi there, Yoon. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm excited to see where the conversation goes today because there's so much we could talk about,
That's right.
and that we both relate to. So you are the founder of Mayflower Advising. Tell our audience a little bit more about, who you are, what you do. Give us your quick little elevator pitch.
Sure thing. I'm formerly elder law attorney, formerly business law attorney before retiring from the practice of law. Moved into business consulting where I was the president of an international business consulting firm back in 2019. Um, and I moved into helping businesses kind of on my own. So I have my own consulting firm, Mayflower Advising, and we've worked with business owners in 50 different countries and 20 different industries. I've personally referred over $3 billion in business funding needs to various investors. So any issue a
Wow,
business owner
it's
is
a big
facing, I've
number.
probably dealt with it at some point and seen how they can move through it.
Yeah. Nice, nice. So now when did you start Mayflower Advising?
I started it in 2020.
Mhm.
I was part of an international consulting firm, and the three
Okay.
principals all decided to retire at the same exact time at the end of 2019, and so leaving me on my own. And I figure since I'm already doing this, I might as well start my own business.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. So tell me more about, do you have some favorite industries? I know you help a wide cross section of industries, but what are some of your, I don't know, top favorites?
I um I like working with manufacturers,
Hmm.
and it's just because it's all it's I don't want to say mechanical because that sounds weird, but it's more numbers based. Everything is
Uh-huh.
yeah, a widget is only worth so much. A crank of a turn is only worth so much, and if you can get the math in your head and understand that that's how the business is, then it's really easy to guide them. Whereas something like consulting is a little more difficult because it's more art than science.
Yeah. So when your clients come to you for manufacturing, by the way, how do you normally get found by the manufacturing clients that you helped?
I just network. I just go
Hmm.
out there. I make friends. I learned when I was running for office years ago that a
Oh,
mentor of
yeah.
mine gave me some advice. He said, before you start fundraising, you need to start friend raising. And
Ooh,
it's
that's
great advice in
catchy.
every aspect of
I
life.
like that. I might
And
steal that.
go right ahead, absolutely.
I'll
And
have to credit your
so
friend. Yeah.
yes, and so I go out there and I just network and you tell people what you do. And after enough times of giving your elevator speech, someone's like,
Uh-huh.
can you help me? Or I know someone who needs you. And it's so I don't really market in the way I used to. But my
Hmm.
law practice, I have to do advertising to get found. And now it's
Right.
just kind of it comes to me.
Wow. That's awesome. So when a manufacturing company comes to you, tell us a little bit about what are some of the top pain points? What are the symptoms as far as, the struggles and challenges that they're going through?
So the first thing I notice usually is that they're undervaluing themselves. One, they're
Hmm.
not selling their product for enough. They and I don't work with big businesses. It's usually smaller manufacturers. They think that if they sell their widget for X dollars, everybody else is just under them, and so everybody's it's a race to a bottom, and that never really works out for a business and any kind of business. So the first thing I'll go in and is I'll have them understand their true value, and then it's from there it's are you doing everything properly, efficiently? Do you understand what your team is doing? Because if someone it's tough moving into this kind of automated world because everybody
Hmm.
thinks, well, if I put in a machine, I'm costing somebody with their job, and it's true. And as a business owner, we kind of have to let that go. And it's funny because you found me because of my Christian values. So to
Yeah,
say that
that really
it's
spoke to me.
there's
Yes.
a little bit of kind of this counterbalancing of you can't be Scrooge here at Christmas time, right? But you also have to run a business as a business. And It's a little bit difficult to do that, but I have to get that through people's heads and understanding that you're not doing this necessarily as a charity. If you want to make more money, that's
Hmm.
great, give to charity, but the business is a business. The top line is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Well, even in the Bible, there's the story of the woman who was what about to make her last meal, and the prophet told her to go get some empty jars and go sell it.
That's right.
He didn't say go give it away. So business is business. And just as, people get paid for their job as an employee, as an entrepreneur, you do need to turn a profit and
Yeah,
look at it from that point of view. So that one story helped me too, as far as my faith walk, to say, you know what, it's not, it's okay. It's
that's
perfectly
right.
okay as a Christian business owner that, yeah, it's not a charity. If you wanted a charity, you would start a nonprofit, which I had in one of my past businesses. I did start a nonprofit. And that kind of segues the conversation to, I think it's really interesting. That's another industry that you work with,
Yeah.
nonprofits. Tell us more about the Google ad campaign offer that I didn't know about for nonprofits.
Certainly the Google Ads grant. Before I do that, I want to point out that nonprofits are also businesses and they have to make money in order to be able to provide the services. I don't know where this idea that making money is a bad thing comes from, because any business of any stripe, for profit or nonprofit, has to bring in revenue to be able to do stuff. And so the more money a nonprofit makes, the more people they serve. So now I'll segue. So the Google Ads Grant is a program that Google puts out. Anybody can Google it themselves. The requirements are incredibly simple. You have to be enrolled in Google for Nonprofits. You have to be a 501(c)(3) if you're in the United States or under whatever tax authority in whatever country you're in. And you have to have a decent website, and not be a hospital, a school, or a government entity. But if you do that, you qualify for Google's ads grant program, which is $10,000 of ads credits every single month. And so my wife and I found out about this about 4 months ago, and we've started nonprofits and worked with nonprofits for years. Even back when we were attorneys, we were doing the documents for them. But when we found this, we're like, $10,000 a month every single month. Like, who doesn't want basically free money? So we set out to just inform as many nonprofits as we can. We're helping them set it up. We're helping them do the management of their ad campaigns, and it's incredible. Our sales team is like, this is the easiest thing we've ever had to sell in the world.
Wow, that's tremendous. And
Yeah,
so I know a lot of our audience who do not yet have a nonprofit. I know what they're going to be thinking. They're gonna be thinking,
yeah.
how do we start a nonprofit so we can do this? So with your legal background, which is so great, you're just a man of so many talents, skills, and knowledge. Um,
Thank you.
what are the parameters that they might have to just be aware of if they are going to start a nonprofit for the sole purpose of trying to leverage leverage this opportunity?
It's it's any nonprofit. It's as long as you're not a school, university, hospital, healthcare system, or a governmental entity. That's the requirements. And so I'm not an attorney anymore. I can't speak legally as to what somebody can do, but it's just a matter of filing with your state body and then filing with the IRS, your 501(c)(3) designation. And it takes a few months. And that's it. That's all Google cares about.
Nice. And there's no requirement as far as how long the nonprofit has been in existence.
They have to get verified through Google's
Mhm.
third-party providers. That system's a little opaque. We don't know exactly what it requires, but as far as I'm aware, they just check the tax system and make sure you're in there.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So then you manage the whole Google Ads campaign,
Yep.
right?
When they get approved for it, they create a separate Google Ads account for them. So even if the company, the nonprofit has advertising through Google Ads, it creates a second account for them just for this money. And it's fascinating because when you go to the billing section, it says we do not charge you.
Wow, that is very exciting. So yes, we all have to get this word out to help other
Yeah,
nonprofits be able to, get more visibility to the work that they're doing.
absolutely.
Uh,
And even if they don't want to hire
yeah,
me to do any of this, I recommend every nonprofit go and apply for this program.
yeah, yeah. So I know you're not practicing law anymore. So
Yep.
I guess if people say, "Hey, Bradford, could you help us file that 501(c)(3)?"
Nope.
Uh, that's not something you're going to refer that out. Okay. So
Nope.
now going back to, all right, so you've got that aspect. You help manufacturing is one industry that you enjoy helping, and you're helping them on the um, just the efficiency systems, trying to run leaner as a manufacturing company. What's another big problem that you help your clients solve through your consulting?
Um, so this applies to pretty much every industry. It's learning how to
Hmm.
delegate. I like to work with small to mid-sized businesses where there's an owner, one person in charge, as opposed to a big business where you have multiple levels and boards and everything involved. Um, and it's the owner almost always is the person who's going to say, well, I could do it better. And it's always true. They know how to do it. They're the one who started it from the beginning. And they always think, well, if I hire someone to do it, they're not going to be near as good as I am. And I'm sure you deal with this all the time yourself, is if you could just understand that you're making the pie bigger by having more people baking it with you, that just makes it the business grow so much faster. It's incredible to watch a business go from one person to a team of two, and it's almost exponential. And you add another person, another, and it's eventually the business owner realizes they don't even need to be there, and that's when they can start another business.
Hmm. So how do you help them get better at delegating? They're sort of paralyzed with that fear factor. The other people are gonna mess it up. They're just not gonna have as good of customer, service as far as fulfillment. So how do you help your business owners actually get better at delegating?
Sure, we help them develop a training system. Obviously, we have to get all the knowledge out of their head and onto paper. That way it can be duplicated over and over again. At the end of the day, though, it's just you have to do it. You have to do it. And if you aren't willing to grow your business, I won't work with you anymore, because that's why I'm here. I'm not going to just take your money every month or however we're paying. It's like, you want me to help you grow, you have to listen to me.
Yeah. So then are most your clients pretty good at then letting go?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're not seeing a lot of resistance with procrastinating or taking it back on themselves.
Well, I won't say I haven't had those clients,
Hmm.
but by and large, yes. I had this one client years ago who he wanted me to review everything his staff was doing. So I just sat next to them and I asked them, "So what do you do? Let me watch you for a few hours." And I was able to identify one individual you have to fire today. You have to fire this person today. They aren't doing anything. They have no idea what they're doing. And the business owner's like, but we're family here and maybe we can pull him. Like, no, no,
Yeah.
you don't understand. You have to get rid of this guy. He kept him on for 3 months. And then one day I come back into the office. He's like, I had to let him go. I realized he wasn't doing anything.
Oh my word. Yeah. And you could have saved him all of that. Because hiring and the overhead of payroll is
Yeah.
one of the biggest pieces of expenses. So if he waited 3 months, that's 3 months way
And
too
the
long.
guy did literally nothing. I would check in every other week and check. This guy had nothing. Couldn't even
Yes.
remember what we talked about in our previous conversations and what he was going to work on. It was so bad. And some business owners, it's that charitable spirit for their employees.
Mm-hmm.
It's a failure of leadership is what it is. They want to be people's friends rather than being just friendly. And there's a very
Right.
fine line between the two.
Especially with small business, because a lot of small business owners did not come from a corporate background.
Yeah.
And, they're the area of expertise and they just decided to develop a business around that. And yeah, it's easy to just kind of get into that. My employees are my family. And you
Mhm.
literally just treat them as if you were family, which is to what you said.
It's funny
It's
because I
great
would
to
never
have
advise anybody to
elements.
hire
Yeah,
their family.
yeah, it's there. It's nice that there's elements of that warmness, as far as a culture. But I hands down, I couldn't agree with you more. That you still, at the end of the day, you've got to look at your business. Business is business, and if someone is failing to fulfill the role that they were hired for, you can't just go and create a role just for them
That's right.
when it's not going to work, for your business. So if someone is listening to our conversation here and they're really thinking about, hey, I could use somebody like Bradford. what are like two or three things that you would advise people should look for when hiring the right coach, consultant? Uh, tell me more about that.
If you're looking at hiring any coach, the first thing you have to believe is that they're going to be able to help you. And it's but know, like, trust, right? If you can't feel that trust factor, don't hire them. It may, some people think, well, maybe if I get into the relationship, I'll eventually. No, if you don't trust them from the start, it's not going to be a good coaching relationship because you need to start listening to them from day one. Um, Next, I would say, where are you getting where did the coach or consultant get their information? Is this someone who has been certified through some organizations, which means they just took a couple classes, or do they have actual real world experience? They've done business, they can point to businesses that they own or business that they've helped. And do they have a system that they work with, or is it cookie cutter, like you're just another client that you have to go through the same process everybody does, or do they adapt themselves to your business? And these are just considerations that I can't say I have good answers for. Like, every client is different, everybody has different needs, every business is different. And so it depends on your own personal situation. And one, do you trust that person? If you can't trust that person, don't do business with them.
Yes, I can echo exactly what you shared. I mean, when I started my coaching practice 17 years ago, I hired a branding coach early
Mhm.
on to help me brand. And I was really surprised. I did not expect, because all the material on the website and so forth, her website, I thought I trusted. But then we got
Mhm.
into the relationship, and I literally, the sessions, I felt she was reading a script in a binder that she purchased, some program,
Mm.
and I could hear her reciting it, and reading the script, and I'm thinking, oh dear, she did not. She really isn't a branding expert. Uh, so quickly that sort of had to end. But yes, it's amazing. I mean, because yeah, today you don't need anybody can go and hang a shingle to
Yeah.
be a business coach or any kind of a coach. So great tips. So tell us some fun facts about you so people can get to know you better.
Sure. Something fun about me. I was the
Uh-huh.
first person in 10 years to get to stay at Don King's training camp back in January of 2022 when he was putting on a heavyweight title fight. He hadn't
Ooh.
opened it up for 10 years. It was the coldest shower I ever had to take because it was in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, and the hot water did not work.
Oh, wow.
I'm sitting there
That's
wondering, like, is this what these old champions had to go through? Was there no hot water in their showers either?
yeah, I guess that's how, keeps them all high energy, right? For
Yep.
doing that. That's fun.
Um,
And how can
I
our listeners get in touch with you?
Sure. Best way to get in touch with me is by email. It's bradford@mayfloweradvising.com. My website is mayfloweradvising.com. You can find me as well through all the social medias under Dr.
Mhm.
Bradford Calrton or Bradford Calrton.
Awesome. And is there a story behind naming Mayflower Advising?
I have 7 family members who were charter signers of the Mayflower Compact.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yep. And
That's really fascinating.
I
Yeah.
decided to do it because I was driving one day and I was sitting behind a truck at a traffic light, and it said Mayflower Trucking 1620, and I'm like, I doubt they were actually trucking back in 1620, but that's great branding.
Uh-huh.
We should do that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now it makes sense, right? With your background as well that you
That's
have on
right.
the interview. So thank you so much, Bradford, for being able to share your thoughts, your insights, and just being able to introduce our audience to who you are, what you do. So yes, go check out mayfloweradvising.com, and I will be back with you on the next episode, everybody.